My presentation to you then is one of harmony of mind. Because I have nothing else to do, I'm going to try to present this to you from a higher perceptual source of reality. Let's see how you handle this. These will be occult notations. Can I help you with something? You're going to sneeze? Oh, we have one of the brothers who's going to sneeze. There's an occult notation in sneezing, for example. Okay. Where the direction of the energy in the sneeze is very ecstatic. It's the pulling up of the energy sources in the sneezes, even to the use of snuff. What, the heart stops beating, and there are a lot of old consciousnesses who admit that their ecstasy emanates from a sneeze. The problem that you have in your conceptual minds, and actually the level at which I'm teaching, is your association of thought forms in what you are constituted as reality. Okay? If you would start with the admission, and this maybe will help you because we're going to have to go what you term veiled or hidden here for just a moment. Let's try it from the top down. There is a single whole consciousness or condition of being, okay? Not identifiable, with no need to identify. It is literally you in energy, or you in purity, or you in beingness. At the time of the so-called schism, or what you would call time itself, or the fractured occurrence, there was formulated light, which is an aspect or aspects of purity emanating and contained within this undefined beingness. Okay. Now, if we're going to define consciousness as light, and we're going to have to define it as light because in perceptual apparent reality, contained within the framework of what you constitute or call universal consciousness are all of the degrees, aspects, speeds, directions, passions, ecstasies of light consciousness. Are you ready? You're nothing but light energy, okay? And since your mind is an aspect of light, no matter how you constitute it in your limited form relationships, okay, you are nothing in that sense but light. Okay, what am I? Okay, I know that within the framework of your apparent antecedent historic references, you refer to me as some sort of a savior or a Christ or a guru. All right? Why? Because you can give me a perceptual identity within your own light frameworks or memory associations and establish me perhaps as a body within that framework in the forms that you are bringing together in the sense of your own reality. They have absolutely nothing to do with reality at all. What I'm trying to get you to do, and this will really help you, there is emanating from me a new order of light. You ought to be able to feel it, all right? If this is a process of increasing order of thought, brightness of thought, harmony within the framework of the great rays, Master Jesus calls it, you're looking at an emanation of a brighter form, okay, of energy or light. It has nothing poop to do with forgiving your mother-in-law. And I don't give this kind of talk very often, but you are held in the bondage of perceptual thought, in the disharmony or conflict of your thickness or the association of your own mind further out in the mandala, or further out, as Jesus would express it, from the great orb of gold, which is a higher pitch of consciousness that will bring you into a closer proximity to the bright light of reality. So there's even an expression in the Course where Jesus says, why don't you shine on your brother? And I don't want to get down into the perceptions of it. We can deal with the nature of our attempts to get you to look at your associate thoughts. Here's the problem. Okay. The further out from the light source, okay, the progression in time occurred, the more necessity to formulate in possession associate realities. Okay, this initiation is best described in the Bible with the necessity for Adam, separate mind, to count and delineate the animals. Okay, to live within the framework of perceptual separate identities. The teachings of my mind are to have you take these thought forms, which are controlled in your limited, thin perception, and give you an expansion of the energy contained within you, literally, emanating from you, so that you'll correlate, okay, your self-identity at a higher frequency of reality. Does everybody understand that? I know you do. You can call that what? Becoming visionary, all right? Is this occurring in the manner in which I'm attempting to get you to look at this? Of course. Okay? Here's some sticklers. Okay. Emanating from the bright light are the great rays, which are identified at varying frequencies or patterns of colors and tones. Oh my. Now, let's take a basic color, just for the fun, which is emanating at a frequency of electromagnetic energy within the framework of light. We're going to take red. Okay, why? Because red is a real frequency. Okay, it's a real what? A real deep passion. Why? Because it's slow. Okay, red to ultraviolet is, now red is real slow, but contained in red, in this deep and incredible passion, are all of the aspects of reality. Okay. There's a lovely sentence in the Course where Jesus says, and this is in chapter 20, and he says, you have the thorns, the red thorns that prick yourself in the blood, and you put on a crown of thorns rather than seeing the white lilies, okay? Or he says, you're fearful of looking on the face of Mars, the god of war, the two-edged sword dripping with the blood and passion of the rage of your conflict, of disassociation from your perceptual thoughts. Now let's take that, and that's passion, brother. And if you think that there's a difference between the passion of war and the passion of sensuality, the passion of unity, the passion of defiance, the passion of ecstatic relationships with God, you're entirely wrong. Passion is passion. If I can get you to look at the notation that you can't have a passion but are the passion, you're going to begin to make some progress. Why? You'll discover that the passion is contained within you and is causing the conflict. Are you stymied by perceptual associations in your effort to create through the passionate release of yourself? Of course. Of course. When you get through with your impressionistic period, you'll cut off your ear. You can't stand the passion of yourself coming true, right? You'll fall on your own sword, or you'll construct a war mechanism for the release of yourself. Okay. The admonition then, in reality, is to take the associate center glandular, I'll use pituitary here. I'm into a glandular thing I didn't particularly want to get into your hormonal relationships in your body can be described in color coordinated fashions. Are you ready for that? Okay. If you associate the orange, which is the prognostication of red at what you would call the Philadelphia or throat level, you begin to emanate a form of transcendental Buddhism. What kind of a talk is it? Lower down, you'll be in a range of the red passion of Mars. Okay, can that be converted into the tranquility of and I'll use the Christian vernacular here, literally the blood of the Lamb. Okay. This is the taking of the passion of the conflict of reciprocity, literally, when Cain slew Abel, and the bringing together and raising of that red energy in the combination with the other factoring within the prism of light. Okay, on up through the gold, where gold, instead of gold, is associated with tranquility and the peace rather than the goal of monetary gain. See, everything translates as you come home in this light rage of you. Is this associated with the glandular centers? Come on, guys. These are concepts and precepts. Is it associated with the 7 notes of the piano, the 12 tribes, the 12 rays, the 12 and 7, and on, of course? What good is this going to do you? Okay. I'm telling you that you're nothing but energy, that contained in you is all of light, and that you are literally in a position of metamorphosis in your own mind, utilizing the ignition of this energy emanating from me. And this has, I know this reduces to get around the guru. This is all nonsense. This is a proclamation to you, all right? And those of you who can hear this are hearing it what? At simply a new harmony, a new range of consciousness of your own mind, new light forms emanating and playing the harmony of the great ancient sound, okay, of fidelity to the single source that we all come from. This is my declaration. It really doesn't have to do with forgiveness, okay? I tell you that you are whole mind encapsulated in a form of unmanifested totalness or creation. It is not possible that you be anything but that. And if you will take these thought forms that you are held together in your limitations, okay, and broaden them out through the refusal to examine yourself in the limitations. I made a couple of limitations this morning about the dreamer, the great rays, and the light of thought forms, okay? You have a total investment in the occupation of self-identity. All self-identity is false because it's a condition of having light energy rather than being light energy, isn't it? Okay. Now, a question that arose yesterday with Master Alan, and this is in regard to love. Is a dream of true love possible? Okay. Is it possible to bring together all of these light combinations in a perfect harmony? Of course. How would you do it? Eliminate associate thought form conflict. Finally, if you're going to play all 12 chords of light, right, you're going to have to play them harmoniously, okay? Because conflict is a limited emanation from a false source, okay? That sounds very peculiar. I just jotted down some things, okay? Now, we use the term passions of increasing order. Within the traditions of man are the notations of the manner in which this so-called enlightenment comes about, and they include directions of the separation of the mind and the heart. And they allow the heart, for example, to be the seat of passion, and the mind to be the source of reason, okay? But yet, passion and reason are the same thing, okay? And love and reason are the same thing. Okay? They are not separate. They are only separate in your limited ray relationships. You listen to me. There's just as much passion in the steel high-range blue, okay, contained within the 9-dimensional configuration. Yet you can see very plainly that consciousnesses in limitation identify themselves in dispassionate associations in order to maintain reasonable identities. After my awakening, I don't usually tell these stories, but I was very much aware, and this didn't come about from books, that That consciousness is energy light, and I see it right then. So that when I would see, for example, and I remember I went to the Theosophical Society and I passed a restricted nun, okay, and emanating from this nun was a real gray steel blue energy. It was very nice, but it was very constricted. It was almost brittle. I've never really given this talk, but someday I'll really, if you guys would listen out there, this might really help you. This doesn't have to do with morals. I'm not talking about good or bad. I'm talking about energy, okay? And I could see that it had literally stopped its association with the passion of its golds and its browns and its reds that are contained. It was somehow had cut off its source, which would be Bethlehem, which would be the Christ, which would be coming up out of Egypt, which would be crossing the Jordan. And we're into a lot of things here because my mind is spraying. But I want you to really look at what I'm saying and try and look at it in that sense for just a moment as dispassionately as you can. Because if you will reason with me to it, we will then together, through the relinquishment of your limited association within your own configuration of dream, and I assure you that it's singular, okay, you will literally be free, Master Jesus says, to be born again. But when I say born again, I'm talking metamorphosis. I'm talking about a whole new frequency of consciousness awareness, a new reality in the literal sense, okay? The dreamer of the dream then what? Expands himself to the certainty that he is the total participant in his dream and reaps the harvest of the golden issue of himself as he returns to paradise. Wow. Isn't that something? He doesn't formulate and poop out limited ideas about the body construct. He's not concerned about it in the least, okay? So, dreamer of the dream, container of all this lovely energy within the microcosm of your associations of thoughts, come now and reminisce with me to the time of the great emanation from light source, okay, when we made within our perceptual framework the agreement of harmony that brought us total love and the reestablishment of the communication, the brightness of singular reality. Can't be done. It could happen to you. Be total. Let yourself go. Is it possible for me to teach this non-doctrinally? Could you actually forgive me in your limited relationships with your identifications of me in conflict sufficiently to allow me to bring about through the ignition of your light the transformation of your limited associations? We're harvesting here, dear brother. We're harvesting. We'll be back. You stay with us, won't you? As if you could go away. Okay, the fundamental premise in the admission of perceptual thought then begins with the necessity for the metamorphosis, or the awakening of your whole mind in this light construct. Okay. Now, this obviously must involve the inclusion of your associate perceptions in your mind. This is real fundamental. Okay. This is what? Fundamental relinquishment of associate thought forms within the ray association. Now, the miracle, as we would teach it, okay, is the increased velocity of light in the association with the order of your perception, so that you begin to emanate from you directly in a creative mode the light of your own conceptual realization. Quite literally, there is nothing outside of you. All perception in form appears to be outside of you. Okay. That the simple technique then is to bring together in your own thought factoring, okay, associations of a higher facility of reality. Now, this has to be an experience, guys. There isn't any sense in studying it. And those of you now who are becoming facilitators of this energy, and there's an admission included here, that this is how the teaching device really works. Okay. As this emanation of light from you surrounds the world and abounds in the total universe, okay, it activates the potential of limitation contained within the darkness of the limited thought form. Okay, now I've got religion out of it entirely. You can formulate all the religions and all the philosophies and all the psychologies around this that you want to. Now here's the fear. Since you are a conglomerate of dark thoughts, you hold an identity of selfness, which if you release, you will lose. I am teaching you to lose your limited self-identity and to re-identify at a higher pitch of selfness. I assure you it's impossible to escape yourself. You are going to be you in consciousness as expressed forever in the beautiful, incredible mandala of light that you are. You will not be more than that, and you will not be less than that, because that's what you are. This now becomes a condition of bliss or ecstasy in the identity of totalness emanating from you in your relationship with all of the consciousness in the universe. Now, if you want to look at the notation that the combination of rays within this configuration that is addressing you is at a different associate value, okay, in more accord with itself, but more unconditional in its associations of light, you will be correct, okay? And that being said, you can confront yourself in your limited associations of thought forms, relinquish them, now we're into perhaps the teachings, and come into this light source that we share in the certainty of our singular source emanation. This is really how simple this is. I don't need your title. I don't need a perceptual title from you. I need an admission from you of this possibility in you, ignited by the certainty of me. That's all. It doesn't need any other forms of evaluation. In fact, the evaluation of it is obviously what causes your continued precipitation. That's raining. Precipitation is raining. Okay. Participation is working together within the limited thought form. Okay. Did you hear that? Well, what do you do? Screw up? See, you grab a hold of this and you say, well, whatever he is, he certainly isn't expressing himself very well. That's wrong. Whatever you call advanced, the brighter, the lighter, the more highly configurated in light teachers that are going out from this source have learned of the immediacy of failure. Of course, the direction of light into darkness always fails until the reconfiguration occurs within the limited thought form. Quite literally, no one hears you, and hears you in the sense that your thought forms are different. You put it together differently. One of the great advantages of the great Master Jesus' Course in Miracles, light emanation, is that the progress of the mind can be determined by the manner or the shift in which the consciousness literally reads the passages in the Course. It occurred with me, this is prior to Course, my awakening involved the icon, for just a moment, of the Testament of John and the King James Version, where the light actually shined on the original manuscript. I was reading it, and all of a sudden, therefore, Be ye perfect even as your Father in heaven is perfect. And big bright lights came on, and the wages of sin are death. Why, it's bright. Okay. So what we're saying is with this new higher frequency of your mind, okay, you bring these very simple sentences together in a ritual of at-one-ment and perform the passion of unity. One of my instructions to the disciples out there is begin to perform total ritual. This is called getting into the now. Let all of the concepts that you have held in limitations and are organizing in your squeezed perceptual mind come together each moment in the ritual of self-awareness. Okay, go to Mass all the time. Do you see how nice this becomes then? So that everything you do is a form of coming to unity, letting light come in. And this can be very valuable to you as you do it. Do you see? This is will the quantum leap then occur in you? Of course, but a definition of the quantum leap is not what it is. This transference of energy, this transformation, this enlightenment, okay, is a continual coming about in you. You have incidences within the total time framework, okay, that are more cognitive than others. We call these holy moments, and they're contained within the total fabric of the light consciousness. They are the bright spots, okay, within the dimensional framework of the great rays. But the most important thing is to remember that this is you. This is your mind. You're doing this. You're the awakening one. You're the expanding consciousness. No matter what the vernacular, if you'll accept the idea that this is occurring to you, not in relationship with your previous concepts of it, but rather in the bringing together of the forms that previously held you in the constructs of the darkness of the slowness of time, they'll become brighter in your minds. Well, how about that? Is it possible that this is true? It's inevitable that it's true. Yeah? Is this a course in miracles? Is this a course in awakening? In the certainty of enlightenment under the direction of your supermind, under the direction of your Christ face, of the new you emerging now. Of course that's what it is. We're happy that you're happy with this now rather than being recalcitrant and demanding and evil and sinful and greedful. Do you see the difference in what we're presenting to you through the relinquishment of this self-association? You can practice the absolute unconditional admission of love, light, energy. That's what you are. What is love finally then? Communication. The certainty of non-conflict causes a harmony that transcends in the passion of itself anything that you ever could experience in your perceptual evaluations. Come join us then in this statement of enlightenment. Let it occur in you. Don't let your previous demeaning associations hold you from this metamorphosis that's going on in your mind. Step clear, brother. Conflict is behind you now because you're in this new frame of time reference, aren't you? You stay with Master Jesus in the Course, and our brothers will be around showing you, presenting to you in energy forms, a new way to read this so you won't keep restricting it into the forms in which you're delineating it now. We'll help you. We'll help you take this step in this transformation within your mind. Of course. We'll be back. We're never going away. We have nowhere to go. We're always together. I couldn't leave you if I wanted to. Not to say that I do. What a task we have then in the assumption of this mantle of limitation as we do the repair job from the original schism. How are you looking at that these days? We'll be back. What I like about the teachings of perceptual formulation of choice as taught in the Course in Miracles is there's no way that I can stop the power of your mind and limitation from being what it is. So I have to give it reasonable choices. And by giving you a new energy source, okay, you can begin to choose at higher frameworks of reality. Finally, what really all that occurs is as you progress, as you become what we would term Holy Spirited or one-eyed, as you bring your cause and effect, your perceptions closer and closer together, is that you see very plainly that in your limited configuration of yourself, you terminate, okay? There's no lasting quality to you in time, okay? Because your associations with yourself, okay, do not contain the necessary expansive energies of light to sustain you, even for a moment. They seem to sustain you for a very long time because you're caught in the flux of darkness. You can't get any good bright light into it. Your frame of reference is not so. Perhaps we would teach it that way. But the moment that you see, okay, that the difference between what I present to you and what your previous concepts have presented to you is the difference between life and death, you'll automatically choose eternity and love, okay? My simple statement to you is that in the configuration of your self-identity, you literally annihilate yourself, only to find yourself in a condition of continuing annihilation. Why? Because at the speed that you're at, that's all that can possibly occur. Okay? The sadness of it taking 80 years in one life, or 1,000 years, or 2,000 years has nothing at all to do with it, because I assure you, the only moment of any reality was the moment of recognition when you remembered it and came back, and that took just a moment, and that's now. That's the expansion to this new frame of light energy. There is nothing outside of you. There are no such things as separate thought forms. There is no such thing as a personality, a persona. They are just light forms contained within the shell of your limited identity. Sounds like the Catholic Upanishad. As above, so below, as within, so without. Okay. At different ranges and textures of apparent reality. This is what's going on in your mind. Wow. Relinquish the conflict of your thought form associations, and you will be transformed immediately into this new frame that is all around you. The idea that Jesus presents in the dreamer of the dream, it can be of an advantage to you if you understand that all space-time is a dream. Okay? It emanates from itself to itself. Okay? It is self-contained, okay, within its own bright or light associations, and it changes each moment within itself, and it has all of the variations contained within that. Okay. Then come dream the real bright dream with me of the inclusiveness, okay, of the emotions, of the passions of reality. Now perhaps you can put this on the other side of the dream talk. Let's bring it into the dream frequencies. Everyone you meet, okay, is a dream of home. Everyone that you apparently associate with on this planet is configured in his own maturating potential of a dream of the bright light of reality. you find some harmony with him in the association of thought or form or consciousness or light, and dance with him a ritual of limited identity, which finally flits off to death, okay? Rather than gathering around you the higher and higher range of associate bright reality, huh? Wow. Wow. See how when your conflictual previous historic associate thoughts get too close to you, how you reject them, okay? How you don't want to associate in this passion of coming to the single identities of yourselves. Of course. Does this take a little practice? It really doesn't take any practice in regard to the acknowledgement of it. It takes practice in the expansion of your own association with yourself. Never mind him. He'll change if you change. Huh? You got the teachings, teacher. Huh? Huh? If you'll stop configuring the thought forms in your limited genetic identity, you'll expand automatically to a new framework of supraconsciousness, Gnostic man, transcended to the light. Huh? Wow. You like that? Is this a real occurrence? It is a real occurrence. It was a real occurrence. It's going on now, and it's going on now in you. Happy birthday. Up from the tomb you arose into the new light and passions of reality. No more death and destruction. Does that please you? It's inevitable. You might as well be happy, because we're going to continue to present you with the singular wholeness of you in love, and know how much you gnash your teeth at us and condemn us and turn around, we'll pay no attention to it at all. Those expressions in deepness are absolutely meaningless to us. We're painting a new picture of you, for you, with you. Huh? Sometimes the energy in you will constitute itself perhaps in a very a simple drawing. Perhaps it'll transcend in you in your own creative purpose. I remember in my awakening I saw the energy of the cave drawings of the bison hunt contained in the portrayal of this hunt of the bison were all of the energies of creative reality. I watched the progress of man in the assertion of himself, so that I could combine, say, the energies of a materialist like Rembrandt and move on into the chaos of a Kandinsky, and suddenly feel that passion of reality, open-mindedness. Come on, you guys. Huh? We can go from Michael Jackson to Bach in a flash. Just open your mind. Hey, a little different talk going on here. What I want you to say is that they're nothing but creative purposes in the necessity of your self-expression. If I can expand the self-expression contained within the great rays, you'll come to less and less conflict in association with your own limited thoughts, won't you? You've been performing your own little dance outside of the fireplace of reality, the campfire. Now you come closer and closer to the Buddha. Do this lovely ritual of harmony. How would you like to hear this? I'll give it to you any way you want it. But stop dividing it up in your mind and making mutual limited observations about the esoteric values of numerology in relationship to the horoscope, for crying out loud. This is your passion. This is your energy. This is your awakening. This is your dream, brother. And I'm standing right in the middle of it, shining real brightly, if you'll let me. Huh? I'm going to be going back home very soon. My assignment is about up here. You know me well, okay, because you gave me the assignment, so there's a rendezvous point. You've always known this. Would you like to hear this for a minute? Contained within your mind is a rendezvous point where we wrap up these perceptions that have been going on, okay, in our mutual minds, utilizing me momentarily as the source of this configuration. So the ram's horn is sounding for you guys. Da-da-da-da. Come on. What'd you do now? Pull this down? Oh yeah, good. What difference does it make? We shared the mistake, and we're sharing the repair job, aren't we? The away team messed around and informed me yesterday that the away team, as in Star Trek, somehow got lost and couldn't get beamed back up, and they left a little satellite out there beeping a bright light of reality. But when we reached a certain point in the reconfiguration, we could call home, E.T. All of it's in your mind. You know perfectly well you're coming home. You're waking up. Did I reduce this now into perceptions for you rather than all of the energy and light forms? What's the difference, dear brother? It's going to be you anyway. By that admission, the consciousness in you expands. And the delight and passion of creation, which is what God is, which is what you are. Okay. No wonder you've become a happy learner in this. You don't want anything else but this, huh? Well, if you got a perceptual eye, you'll pluck it out so fast and that bright light begins to shine in you. Why would you continue in the configurations of limitation and death? You won't. Now, are you going to be attacked? Is there a limitation that's going to be in conflict with this? Of course. Why? Because conceptual thought is conflictual. We're not concerned about this at all. There's no reality to conflict. Okay? If you can see that each moment, all right, you'll come more and more into the brightness of this reality. No one could love you more than we do because we are loved together in the certainty of our acknowledgement of a single source of consciousness. And we'll take now the light forms and bring them together and play a final great chord. Okay. And be eternal together. We'll be seeing you soon, we hope, here at God's Country Place. You come and experience this transformation with us. We declare now, beyond a doubt, to certainty, okay, beyond the perceptual possibility that inaugurates you, that you can come to this wholeness through this admission. We hope you'll join us. See you soon. This energy source now is emanating from the Ark of the Covenant, from the place where we made the decision. You share it with us in your memories, and it will cause you to have visions of reality. It will be bright and fulfilling to you. Here's where we agreed to meet. Scattered brotherhood returns now from this mission. Welcome home. So